Hello, welcome to lecture number 3 in Social Foundations of Education. Whenever the study of schools is undertaken, it must be remembered that the theoretical or rational construct, commonly referred to as a sociological framework or research paradigm, influences policy decisions which in turn affect school reforms and allocation of resources, benefiting students unequally whether they are gifted, at risk, require special education, belong to a low or high socioeconomic level, are minority, or live in an urban or rural community. One of the key questions that must be kept in mind is, what is the purpose of education in a democratic society? There are 5 major theoretical, rational constructs or frameworks that serve as a basis or means to approach the study of school culture. These frameworks allow the researcher to try to understand the culture, subculture, and groupings of individuals in schools. The 5 frameworks are functionalism, structuralist, consensus theory, conflict theory, critical theory, interpretivist theory, and postmodern theory. Each of these theories enables a researcher to develop a window through which the culture of the school can be viewed. Please open and view the PowerPoints that have been provided. Ask yourselves, how do I view culture, education, and the role of schooling? How do you relate to the subcultures within the culture of school? Which of the 5 frameworks would serve to provide the window by which the clearest picture of the culture can be best seen? Ability grouping and teacher expectations. The basic question is how best to educate large numbers of students whose backgrounds and abilities differ widely without limiting the instruction opportunities of lower performing students. Although a reasonable question, recent studies have found that efforts to deal with it result... Let me say that again, please. Although a reasonable question, recent studies have found that efforts to deal with it resulted in low-income and minority students being placed at the bottom of the ability grouping system. The most common systems of groupings are based on age, gender, special needs, and achievement. Although tracking is frowned upon and in some instances illegal, it still occurs based on structured curriculum such as mathematics and reading ability. The following is a summary of the current findings of many current researchers commenting on the effects of grouping. Number 1. Lower ability groupings tend to include a disproportionate number of lower class and minority children. This stratification influences educational attainment and is likely to affect students' job attainments and earnings. Number 2. Children from low socioeconomic backgrounds are more likely to be placed in low ability groupings because of low test scores, which some argue do not measure ability accurately. In addition, they are often stigmatized and scores keep falling in relation to other groups. Number 3. Each school has its own stratification system, depending on students coming into the system, but children in any given grouping tend to be more homogeneous in terms of socioeconomic status and race than are children in the school as a whole. In other words, groupings within the school are highly related to the background of students. Once students are labeled and grouped, there is less chance of their moving from one category to another. Number 4. Students in upper ability groupings are disproportionately of higher socioeconomic status and are more motivated and have higher achievement, class rank, and test scores, all of which give them a better start after high school. Teachers give more feedback and praise to high ability groups and plan more creative activities for them. For the lower groupings, the opposite is true. Summaries of research on the effects of ability groupings indicate that the practice benefits gifted students and those placed in high tracks. The lower ability groups receive less teacher attention and poor instruction, setting them further behind in the quest for equal opportunity. Ability groups often reinforce race and class segregation and stereotypes, and they lower the aspirations and self-esteem of lower group students. If you will pull up lecture number 3, you'll see in lecture number 3 that there are a table and as sources of teacher expectation. Please look at those and respond to them in your journal. I want to thank you for taking the class. Thank you. Have a good week.